a whole nother week, a whole nother episode of Let's Talk About This Way. And what do you know? We're here virtual again. Let's get virtual. Virtual. All right. I got a little singing into me today. It's the end of the day. I'm feeling pretty good. An afternoon recording, a lot more energy than when I do a morning recording. But super excited this week as we have a good friend of mine, Jessie Borrego here, and she's got a lot to talk about and a really cool project that she's got going on right now. And I'm sure you probably already heard of it, but it's her own podcast, and we'll dive into that. Real quick before we start here, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been following along on this journey, supporting me, liking, commenting on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. It means the world to me. A shout out to the band from Simi Valley, California. Those are the guys over there at the band Hannah. Give them a listen. They're great. Their music can be found on pretty much the streaming platforms that I have on at this point. At the end of the episode, you'll also see a little YouTube page there that I put for them, so you can see all their info there. But anyways, here we go. Jessie, good afternoon. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. As you can
Good.
tell, I'm in a singing mood. It's
I love it. I
wonderful.
love the energy.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all about the energy.
Yeah.
And if you haven't noticed, have you ever been to Buc-ee's?
No, I've never been to Buc-ee's. Where's that at? In Arizona?
No. It's a little like Midwest. I ran into in Texas, but have you
Oh,
ever heard of Buc-ee's?
yes, I have.
Okay. It is literally the greatest gas station slash restaurant I've ever been to, or truck stop, if you
Okay.
want to call it. I'm supporting their hat.
Okay,
Okay.
I love
I got to tell you this because I'm going to tell everyone right now, I
it.
am on such a quest right now to let everyone know about Buc-ee's if you haven't heard of it. It's hard not to, though. They're the greatest, the cleanest bathrooms I've ever seen in my entire life. They really live up to that name. And also, some of the barbecue they got going on, would have never guessed that at a gas station or truck stop, it would be that good. So,
Hmm.
Buc-ee's, I'm here for you. Sponsor me if you want. I'll talk
Yeah,
about
they
it
should
all
sponsor
day.
you.
Right, right.
They should.
Um, but anyways, so here we are. We're starting it off. Jessie, I know we met each other in college, have some great mutual friends as well. Hopefully
Mhm.
listen to this podcast as well. But I'd love to take a bit of dive into your background and a little bit before college. So who
Okay.
is Jessie? Maybe starting off, well, I guess just give me the origin story. Tell me where you grew up and give me a little
Okay.
background.
Yeah, so I'm from a town called Temecula. It's a little small town about an hour from San Diego, an hour from Orange County. It's the wine country of Southern California.
We love wine.
And yes, and it's so cute, it's quaint. Um, and growing up, I was pretty bored because there wasn't a lot to do there.
And you weren't 21 at that point
And
yet.
I wasn't 21. Yeah, so there wasn't a whole lot, but I'm grateful to have been raised there. Um, but I went to it's called Temecula Valley High School,
Okay.
and a lot of my friends from my high school actually went to my college with me, so we all grew up together, and I was pretty quiet in high school. Um,
You.
yeah,
You
yeah,
were quiet in high school.
so quiet, so
Really?
quiet. Yeah,
It's
very quiet.
it's hard for me to believe because I feel like anytime I was around you, you were just a very, at least to me, a very big social butterfly. You know what I mean? Like you're always
Yeah.
talking, you're having a good vibe, good energy, very happy, which I've always loved.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like I just had like a lot of social anxiety growing up, and just like a lot of anxiety in general. And
Okay.
so I feel like I just kind of kept to myself. Like I definitely had friends and stuff, but I was very like to myself, very like naive, quiet, all those things. So
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Interesting.
yeah,
Wouldn't have expected that. And I wonder if
I
others, well, I'm
know.
sure your friends that came from high school to college knew that a bit about you, but for anyone else
Definitely.
who may have met you in that college period, I don't
Mhm.
know, they might be shocked as I am.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, how many friends did you have from high school go to college with you?
Ooh, that's a great question. There was a lot of us, and like some weren't even my friends in high school, but like I knew of them, and
Right.
they were probably like a couple years older. But there was like my good friends, there was probably like 5 to 10 of us. Like there was a lot of us.
That's awesome. Doesn't that make the college experience just a little bit easier to get
Oh,
into? Just because
yeah.
you have like a starting base of friends, and then you'll
Hmm.
slowly network with other people, and then your friend from Temecula brings another friend to come along and meet up there. I love
Yeah.
that, and I think it's cool because I
Yeah.
had that experience as well. I had
Yeah, you
about
did. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah, I had about 6 buddies of mine from high school in Palmdale come up to NAU as well, and it was cool, and obviously you get to stay in touch with them throughout the college years too,
Yep.
which is so awesome. So it's awesome you get that experience, and I'm sure that helped you kinda get assimilated with other people out there
Oh,
at NAU.
totally. Totally. Because I feel like when I first had gone to college, like again, like I had anxiety, so I feel like I was so nervous, and it just made the experience like so seamless. And yeah, like you said, like I just feel like we also like grew together,
Yeah.
and it's really cool now to like look back and be like, man, like remember that time, you know,
Yeah.
as we're adults and just like living our adult lives.
Oh, 100%. There's been
Yeah.
so many stories we still talk about to this day, which is great. I've always
Oh,
said
so many.
college, it's just, yes, sure, you go there for the education and the piece of paper and for others it might be a very valuable experience from the education they receive. I'm blessed to have received that education, but I'll
Yeah.
be honest, yeah, I think I learned a lot more about the experiences outside
Yeah.
of college being up there, right?
Same.
Networking, different social personalities, how to interact
Mhm.
with others. It was all very, I felt pivotal for my own career growth and my personal growth, even though maybe at the moment I didn't see it. Right.
Yeah. I I can't agree more. I feel like I mean, I grew up as a person, like I said, I was very like naive and I was very like sheltered growing up. Like I said, my town was very small. And so I feel like going to college, like it just like you're on your own. You
Yeah.
have to learn so many things on your own, which is hard. You're not really doing it right at first. And then it just kind of all starts to fall into place.
That's so true. So
Mhm.
going into college, maybe even
Yes.
before college, did you know what you wanted to do?
No.
Not at all.
Nope. I
Oh,
had no direction.
okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
talk me through that a little bit, because obviously you go to college, and maybe if I'm assuming correct, and I could be wrong,
Mhm.
you went to college knowing, well, I need this degree at least, and I'll figure it out. Was that kind of the
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah, so I kind of just went to college because so I picked NAU because all my friends were going there and
Right.
I really had no idea what I wanted to do. And so I just knew I had to go to college. Like that was just like a thing like you like that's kind of what's next after high school is college. And so I wouldn't say I was entirely ready to go to college because like I said I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I just kind of went and I went in undeclared.
Okay.
So I didn't have
So
a major.
how does that look like for someone who maybe is listening to this show and is saying, okay, what does it mean to go undeclared? Maybe they're in the same shoes where you were at years ago, right? And they're saying,
Yeah.
What does that mean? How do I go about college? And what class am I taking? What did that look like for you going undeclared?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I went in undeclared. So the classes that I took were kind of just what we had to take anyway. When you're going into your undergrad, you have to take is it like prereqs?
Yeah, yeah, sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, so just like general ed prereqs is what you have to take. And
Okay.
so I was like, cool. So it kind of bought me some time because I was taking those courses, which was kind of nice because then I'm like, maybe I would do this or maybe I'll do that because all the courses were kind of all over the place.
Right.
And then I even took a course to help me decide what I wanted to do. And I forget what it was called, but it was literally like a semester course where they like you do quizzes and surveys and stuff like that. And it kind of hones you down, like narrows you down to like maybe something you'd like to do.
That's interesting. So a class that takes a whole semester to help you
Yeah.
narrow out what you want to do and what you want to take. Can I
Yeah.
ask you how many people were in that class? Were there a lot?
It wasn't like a whole like lecture hall. It
Okay.
was just like a smaller class. I would say maybe like 20 to 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, to me, that sounds pretty useful. I think that sounds
Yeah.
like a really good class to have, especially when you're not sure what you want to do. And this would be hopeful to lead you towards the right direction. But what
Yeah.
was the actual result of that class? Did you feel that you got a lot out of it, or did you feel that I still didn't really know?
That's a good question. I would say I did because it kind of gave me more like options and stuff, like maybe courses I didn't know about because I felt like the professor or yeah, the professor was pretty helpful and
Hmm.
just kind of went over things that I just personally didn't know.
Okay.
So that was cool because I feel like it opened up like because I had other people in that class, like I said, so I feel like we kind of bounced ideas off each other because we all didn't know what we wanted to do.
Sure.
And then I kind of I don't know if I was like talking to my mom about it, but I kind of was like, I think this is the path I want to go, and I ended up choosing English major with a minor in cinema studies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. English major with
Yeah.
a minor in cinema studies.
Hmm.
So by going that route at that time, were you thinking of being like a movie teacher, an arts teacher in some sort of form?
Yeah. The reason I chose English is because I loved English. Like that was my favorite like in high school and stuff. And I've always loved to write and I like poetry and I love the arts. Like I truly love the arts. And
Right.
then I also was like I love movies and I was thinking maybe going like in the writing direction of like
Ooh, that'd be
cinema.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah, so that I kind of had like those ideas and I just really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
And maybe it wasn't practical. I feel like yeah, it's kind of like a I don't know the word, but it's not like I'm going to be a doctor.
Yeah,
English
yeah.
major, it's definitely different and it's kind of harder to get like a job with that. But I really enjoyed it. Like I loved my classes. I loved my professors. Truly like the best professors I've ever had. They made it
Yeah.
so fun.
Oh
It was
God.
such a creative space and I love like creative spaces. Like that's where I thrive. And I just really enjoyed my time as an English major.
Okay. Well,
Hmm.
that's great. I mean, I think it's good too to know for people who do end up pursuing something. Maybe they don't end up doing something
Yeah.
similar to it. That's okay. I'm one of them. Hi, I took
Mhm.
my degree in psychology and sociology. I guess I could say I'm using somewhat towards sales, but I thought I was going to be a psychiatrist at one point, a children's
Mhm.
psychiatrist. So, regardless of it, you could still do other things. It doesn't matter, but it gives you a little bit of a dirt arrow, I guess, a direction of where you want to go, right?
Yeah,
And you got a good experience out of it. So,
I
via.
did.
So, here we are. You're kind of figuring out what you want to do. Now
Hmm.
we got kind of the rest of the college tenure. And I'm talking about outside experiences. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about partying. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the things that we get introduced to. We're like, whoa, big eyes. Maybe you didn't see that as much in high school, right?
Hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about your social experience of
Yeah.
college.
Oh, my social experience was like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like the best time of my whole entire life. I feel like I thrived in college. I just like I said, like in high school I was just in a little bubble, didn't really go out of that. And so I felt like when I went to college, I just went crazy.
Okay.
Seriously.
What's crazy? Talk to me.
Like,
Talk to us. What's
okay. Oh,
crazy?
yeah. This is a good question. So, I never drank alcohol.
Okay.
So, even like the first semester of college, like I still was kind of like my friends were like, "Come on!" Like they started drinking,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're
Uh-huh.
like, "Come on, like drink." I was like, "No, like I don't want to,"
Yeah.
like still kind of nervous about drinking alcohol. And then once after that semester, like I started drinking, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever." And I also love it because it also took away my anxiety. So I feel like it
Mm.
was just so like I didn't experience that before, and so like I
Yeah.
was just I'm like, "Whoa, this is so cool." And what else? I met so many cool people.
Yeah.
I feel like looking back, like I tell like even my roommates, I'm just like, I met the coolest people in Flagstaff. Seriously. Like
Yeah.
I mean Herbie was one of them, like you
Hmm.
and Herbie.
Yeah.
And like we would go to his place all the time, like
Yeah, we
freshman
would.
year. Like
Uh-huh.
it was the spot.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful to have met him and my friend Kalani, who introduced me to him. And yeah, it was just so fun. And I just feel like those connections were just amazing. And I wouldn't have made it through college without that. So I think like if you're thinking about going to college or want that college experience, like that's definitely such a perk is just the community. Like even going out to the bar, like once I turned 21, I just remember
Yeah.
going out and everyone would just yell at each other when like people would come into the bar and it was
Yeah.
just such good like camaraderie.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I for sure met some of the greatest people in Flagstaff, and even from Flagstaff, met people down here in the valley.
Oh yeah.
One of the biggest blessings I have, and he knows it too. So shout out to my buddy Chad and all those Phoenix guys. I got a lot of love for you, but I got to meet one of my best buddies in life, Chad, up there, and he introduced me to friends that were down here from where he grew up in the valley in Arizona. And till this day, since that, I've been friends with him for over a decade. Very close friends with them.
Wow.
So you can just make so many connections. Obviously, Herbie, but you know
Yeah.
what? I'm not going to mention Herbie so much. I mentioned him in so many of my other podcasts. He's starting to get a big head. You know him.
I
Now he's
love it.
Now he's messaging me. Oh, who's going to talk about me today? You know him. Love you, Herbs. But no, an amazing experience meeting so many wonderful people. We got really lucky with that. So I'm glad you shared the same experience in that. And the
Mhm.
bars. Bars were
Ugh,
fun. It really is. You're right. It's a big camaraderie. I mean,
mhm.
you would just get to see people because it was like that small downtown bar scene, right?
Yep.
Like it's
Yep.
just college kids. You have a few locals, but then you got
Yeah.
to see similar people the nights you go out. And let's not kid ourselves. Anyone who's been to college, who's maybe in college now, when you're really into it and you're having a good time, oh my gosh, I feel like every night's something, right? You got
Every night.
yeah, you got the Tuesday nights where back in the day up in Flagstaff there used to be a bar called Maloney's.
I was just gonna mention that. That's my
Five,
favorite
right?
part.
Yeah. five
That was
dollar
my favorite.
cover, well, a dollar drinks all night.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
crazy.
It makes no sense. I tell some people saying like there's no way. I was like, no, it happened. It
I
happened.
know.
But I mean, you had every single night had something.
I know.
If you were country or if you weren't country, who cared? You still probably went to the museum club for Dime Wednesdays. You know
Yep.
what I mean? 10-cent beers, unbelievable. So
Yeah.
you have all these nights, you have all these days, and it's fun. And you're right at that time, right? Even before we were 21, we started getting introduced to alcohol. Uh,
Mhm.
I didn't even know I really had anxiety as much, right? And I would notice, wow, I'm talking to people super loose. It's great. I don't really
Mhm.
care. It's a good vibe. It's a good energy. But it is something that, and we'll maybe touch on this a little later on. We talk about what you're doing now in life, what's going on. But and even now, we have a few drinks today. You're like, wow, I didn't realize how much that really did to me and how much of that could have actually really affected me as well. Today's world where
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, like I'm out and about,
Yeah.
maybe need a little glass to kind of just ease into people, right?
Mhm.
But those two things, though, for sure, I think were absolutely massive in the social experience and learning that.
Mhm.
So we're having a good time, everything's going good, introduced to alcohol, maybe other things, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And you're approaching now your
Mhm.
senior year. Where's Jesse's mindset?
Ooh, that's actually a great question because I feel like that's when things started to change for me.
Okay, talk to
So
us.
my senior year was kind of tough because I feel like, I wasn't hanging out with some friends as much and like close like one of my close friends, we weren't hanging out as much. And just things started to change. Like everyone was just kind of going into their own thing and we had to graduate. It wasn't like the same like vibe.
People were getting serious.
People were getting serious, yeah. And I was getting depressed. So
Mm,
I started to get really depressed. I didn't know I was getting depressed, but I started to isolate myself more and I just really wasn't reaching out to people as much. Like I shared a room with one of my good friends and I just felt like I just stayed in that room. And it just wasn't healthy. And yeah, I just feel like my senior year, I just kind of had my head down, just wanted to graduate and just kind of like, move forward. But I think I was also scared to graduate. I think there's that kind of goes hand in hand because I was scared to graduate because I didn't want to leave like
yeah,
like I didn't realize what was happening. Like one day it just like you graduate and then it's over. Like
yeah.
everyone you talk to, everyone you surrounded yourself with for the past 4 years is gone. It was gone. Like literally the next day after graduation, people started leaving, and to this day haven't seen them, and it's sad. Like
Really,
that's sad. Yeah,
really, because
yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you was your senior coming up, did you feel going into that year saying it's been changed? It was pretty much the big change there for you and what you had felt for a while during college. Was that because you maybe had lost quite a bit of friends that you were seeing on a regular already going into senior year? Maybe
Yeah.
graduating or going out other places?
Yeah, and it's not like that I lost there was one like I said, one of my good friends, I did lose that person and I started college with that person and so I feel like that was the first time I ever like didn't have like a close friend in my life like that and she was like my sister. And so I feel like once that changed then everything just kind of started shifting because it's like I mean I had my best friend Allie, I had my other best friend Lindsay and like but we all were kind of just doing our own thing too. Like I said it was my senior year and so I feel like I just was like like kind of sheltering. I don't know how to explain it, but I just wasn't going out as much. I wasn't reaching out as much to like my best friends and I was just kind of like keeping more to myself, I feel like. At least I feel that way.
Yeah. Well, can I ask you then at that, because I know at the time you were
Mhm.
kind of thinking maybe I'll go this path, I'll enjoy my classes with English and the minor in cinema.
Mhm.
Did you have even a bit of a firm standing of what you were going to do right after college?
No,
Okay.
no.
Do you think by any chance that maybe that feeling during your senior year, maybe you were seeing others. I still deal with this today sometimes, right? So
Mhm.
I imagine in college when we go through, and I even in college, you see others who are like, my God, they have, in my opinion, in my perspective, from what I'm seeing on the outside, they have it
Mhm.
all set. They have it good. They've lived their good life in college. They had fun. And what's that? Oh, I already have a job lined up when I leave, and it's a good high paying job, this and that for this career path that I chose, my degree. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. I'm still figuring that out. And I
Yeah.
feel like that kind of diminishes us just a little bit. Of course, we're happy for our friends are doing that, but then you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What's going on with me? Am I being left
Right.
behind?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Do you think that may have at
Yeah,
all like factored into
I
it?
definitely think that had a huge factor because also I didn't mention this. Well, okay, so my friends Lindsay, Allie, Jenna, like they were a year below. They were graduating the next year.
Okay.
And so I feel like that's also a factor because then I was like, I don't have much. Like I had my really good friend Christina, but I was kind of on my own wavelength. And then I feel like that comparison um definitely like I struggled with. But also another thing that had happened that year, my parents were moving. So my parents were moving from like my childhood home in Temecula to Florida. And that really affected me because I feel like then it's like, where was I gonna go? Like I
Hmm.
didn't know because now I have no home kind of thing.
Gotcha. Because now their homes will be like on the East Coast.
Yeah. And that's not my home. Like Florida
No.
wasn't my home.
Right.
Like I knew Temecula, like all my friends, like my brother was there, like everybody was there. But now it's like, okay, I'm leaving college with all my friends that I've made over the past 4 years, and now I have no home to go to.
Right.
So
It's
yeah,
just a lot, man. It's a
it
lot to
was a lot.
process in that year, and then you're focused on graduating. So,
Yeah.
okay, so now we're seeing this energy of enjoyment. One of the best times of our lives start to,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, okay, there's a reason why we do this because we're gonna have to go out into the real world and do more
Yes.
stuff. And so
Yeah.
here we go. Now, and I dive into this with you a little bit more. I feel like maybe some other episodes only because I think and what you're doing now is amazing in your project with your podcast.
Thank
And I think a
you.
lot of that comes from your experiences. And so
Hmm.
I do want people to hear a little bit about kind of the in depths of it because
Yeah.
I hope they do, at the end when we start talking more about the podcast, they listen to your podcast because I loved it. It's
Oh,
it's really
thank
what
you.
it's really what helped me get this going as I talked to you
Oh,
about prior to get it going. So
that means a lot.
yeah, so we're and I'm excited when we dive into that. So before we get into that
Yeah.
though, let's go back now. Here we go. Senior year.
Yeah.
So we're feeling this way. We
Yeah.
graduate. What did
Hmm.
Jessie do after graduating?
Yeah. So after I graduated, like like my mental state was like done. Like I was so depressed and I never felt depression before. Like I'm so happy and like, all the time. Like I truly felt genuinely happy all the time and then it just like shifted and I got like so depressed. And so okay, now I'm like scrambling. I'm like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And so my cousin, he lived in or lives in Phoenix. And so he had a really good job. So then I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, like I think I'm going to move to Phoenix. Like, can you like refer me to your job and all that stuff?" And he was like, "Yeah, like, he was so helpful, so great." But then I got cold feet and I was like, I need to go be with my parents. Like I felt so depressed. Like that summer I stayed in Flagstaff and I was gonna work, but then I just couldn't like I felt so like low. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go to Florida. So I moved to Florida and lived with my parents.
What's you're saying depressed and low. What was depressed to Jessie? What is low to Jessie? Like tell me a little about the feelings you had. How did
Yeah.
that affect you physically and mentally?
Yeah. So it started when I really started to feel it was when I started moving out of my apartment in Flagstaff. And I just remember like I had already sold my bed, I had already sold everything. So I started like I was sleeping on the floor. And I remember this vividly. Like I was sleeping on the floor, but like I would wake up at like 6 a.m. and like right when I woke up, I would feel like dread and I would feel sick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like the only time I got peace was when I was asleep.
Wow.
So yeah,
So just like no energy to want to do anything.
no. And then I started to get like when I moved to Florida, like then I started to get like suicidal ideation and things like that. So
Oh,
and I
wow.
never had
Okay.
those thoughts before, so it started to scare me.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's
Hmm.
extremely scary. I mean, Jesse, like I said, from all I've ever known about you,
Mhm.
right? Just you are a very happy person. You're a very smiling person. Like
Yeah.
when I think about impressions of people, right? There's certain things that stick with me, and that was
Mhm.
Jessie to me. Anytime I saw you, very
Yeah.
smiling, very happy, very giggling, and that's a great thing to have because it does light up a room. It makes other people feel warm and welcome. So to
Mhm.
hear that,
Yeah.
it does blow my mind a little bit because I'm like, for someone to go from that level, or not that level, but
Mhm.
that end of the spectrum to now possibly a little bit of the suicidal ideations popping up because we feel so low.
Mhm.
My gosh. I mean,
I know.
I'm sure you had talked. Did you start talking to someone right away? You started feeling that, or did you wait till because you didn't really
Mhm.
understand like what was going on?
Yeah, so when I first started feeling that way, because I knew deep down I would never do anything, but I, f- I thought about it. Like I thought about it every day I woke up, like, and I don't know, like it was hard. And I didn't really talk to anyone about it because I felt ashamed. I felt
Mm,
really ashamed feeling that way because I'm like, why am I even thinking this? Like, and so that was hard. But then, so my brother-in-law, he's a marriage and family therapist.
okay.
And so I called him for a lot of stuff. And so he really helped me. And I don't know if I told him that I was like feeling suicidal,
Right.
but he really like helped me kind of just get my mind clearer because he was like, I was comparing myself to other people.
Yeah.
I was working a job that, I wanted to be somewhere, like I wanted to be here, but I didn't know how to get there. And so he told me, you need to make like small goals to get to that big picture. Cause he's like, you just want to jump to that big picture, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't just get there. And so that really helped. Like he just kind of helped like change my mindset. So I kind of like started opening up about stuff, but I don't know where it came to a point because I think in college, so I believe in God and I have a lot of faith.
Yeah.
And so I think in college, like I started pushing God away. And so by senior year, I just didn't even have God in my, like I still believe, but he wasn't like in my life. Like I definitely didn't lean on him or anything.
What does it mean to be pushed away? Like
Like,
just like not praying, not going to service, not
yes.
really including him in
Yeah.
your okay.
And not like acting any like sort of, you know what I mean? Like I just really just pushed him away. And then so I feel like once I moved in with my parents, like I started going to church more and I just really started finding my faith and like praying to God and that he really just saved me. Like I remember one time I prayed and I was like I just can't be here anymore. Like
Yeah.
please like take my like basically like take my life kind of thing. I know that's like really deep, but it's just the truth.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you being vulnerable with us and being
Yeah.
honest. And I think it's, who knows who out there might be feeling the same way. So
Hmm.
I appreciate you opening up on that.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I'm hoping that after you started talking with your brother in law a little bit and
Yeah.
kind of finding some peace, things are getting a little better from there.
Oh, so much better. Yeah. And then like I said, once I started like praying and going to church and really leaning on God, really like talking to people about it, then I started opening up and I was like, wait, like this isn't something that you should be ashamed to talk about
Mm-mm.
because it's real life and you sometimes have really bad thoughts and it's something that you should be able to share with people and that's why I feel very comfortable like telling people, anybody, like this is what I went through because I think it's so important to talk about these things because no one does.
Absolutely. And well, now you're leading into it more with a
Hmm.
platform that speaks out to
Yes.
a lot of people in their mental health, which I love. Before we dive into that, though, I know I keep
Okay.
people like, when are we going to hear about this? Let's talk about this. Let's just paint a little, you don't have to go that deep. Because I know
Hmm.
when we first talked about like jobs and what you're doing, you kind of went a couple of ways with jobs. And I think it sounds like you stuck to ones that you really liked, but
Hmm.
obviously, there's always changes that come about, different things. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about the different jobs you've had from starting to kind of
Okay.
get on your feet again to now. What jobs have you had?
Okay. I don't know if we have time for all that. No, I'm just kidding. But I've had a lot of jobs.
Let's go job titles then. Let's throw some out there.
Okay. So what my first like real job out of college, I was a claims adjuster for
Yeah.
an insurance company. Um, so that was really great. I didn't. It was hard. It was a tough job, but it taught me so much.
Okay.
So much. Like very like how to be professional, how to talk on the phone, how to talk to people who are cussing you out,
Oof. I
and
love
just how to
that
handle
one.
those
Yeah.
situations.
Love that one.
Yeah. So that job has really taught me a lot. And then after that, I got an opportunity to be a loan processor for a startup
Okay.
tech company.
Okay.
So I did that, but then unfortunately got laid off because that's the nature of startups, I've realized.
It's the general. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. So then after that, I became a recruiter,
Okay.
a legal recruiter, which was fun because I like talking to people like this. We would talk virtually. We would talk about what they wanted to do, what they were passionate about, and then I would just kind of find them a job that fit their needs, which is fun because I love to help people.
Right.
But then, so that job didn't work out. And then
Uh-huh.
after that, I was like, well, and so at this point, I'm living in LA,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't just keep taking these jobs just to take them. And so one of my besties, Lindsay, moved in with me in LA, and she was like, she didn't have a job either. So I was like, what
Hmm.
should we do? And
Yeah.
she was like, why don't we just serve for a little bit? Like, how fun would that be? Like, why don't we just serve? Like, we'll talk to people. Like, it'd be so fun. I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so there was this rooftop bar in Hollywood, and me and my other friend Celeste had went there, and it was like such the vibe, like so cute,
Okay.
cute little place.
Can you give
Um,
us the name because you kind of got me going on that vibe? What are we talking
oh
about?
yes, it's actually just permanently closed,
Oh, never mind.
but it's called Mama Shelter. So shout out Mama Shelter.
Okay. Okay.
Um, And yeah, so one night, me and my friends, we went into the bar to like just go have some drinks. And then on the door, it said, we're hiring. And I was like,
Perfect.
what? No way. So me and her got the job, and it was great. I actually really love serving, and I love like the industry. I think it's tough.
Okay.
And I
It
think
is. Yeah.
everybody should do it once.
I think you learned a lot from serving for sure. I can't say
Mhm.
enough about it. Did it myself.
Okay.
Made me feel like I don't, truthfully me, like I really don't want to be in the restaurant business.
Hmm.
I just, it's a lot. I
Yeah.
give so much kudos. Like I'm one of those people that I tip so much just because even,
Love it.
even for someone to have, I can't remember the last time I didn't tip someone over 25%, right? Like it's just like, it's, well, because I've been there, I get it. And I've
Mhm.
seen people go through it, and it's just like, there's a lot that goes into that. And
Yep.
even if you're giving your best, sometimes we get shorted. And I don't try to judge
Mhm.
anyone's financial situation, right? I know some people
Yep.
get upset being like, well, if you don't have money to tip, what are you doing being out here eating, or getting
Right.
drinks? I don't know the situation, but so I just understand sometimes the feeling when I would what sometimes I wouldn't even get a tip, and I'm like, wow, I'm like giving you everything I got energy wise and charisma, doing, and so I think when you come from that and you know that, you can't help but try to do that for others, right?
Yep.
Even if they're not having the best day, like,
Hmm.
I appreciate you. Keep doing your thing, right?
Agreed.
So I'm with you. I think if everyone
Yeah.
served at least once, I think they'd have another
Mhm.
understanding and perspective. People who do that for a living, right?
Yeah, because it's tough. And like you said, like it's kind of like you have to, sometimes you have to be like an actress. Like you might feel so sick, or you might feel so like I don't want to work today, right?
Yeah,
But you have
100%.
to like be, hi, how are you? You have to put your
Yeah,
face on because
yeah,
that's how you get your tips. Like you can't be rude, you can't be, you have to put that face on. And so yeah, that was interesting. And I also want to shout out like the kitchen. Like
do it.
kitchen works so hard.
Mm-hmm.
They work so hard. They're like the most hardworking people I have met. So
Yeah,
I just want to shout out the kitchen because they work so hard.
I love it. I love it. For all you
Yeah.
cooks, chefs out there in the
Yes.
kitchen, we appreciate
Mhm.
you. We got a lot of love for you. Thank you for doing what you guys are doing back there. And you don't get
Mhm.
as much recognition. So
Yep.
there's your shout out for them. So serving, we're happy. It's a fun
Yeah.
time. Are we doing serving right now?
No.
Okay, what are we doing?
So now, okay. So then I shifted, and now, so I got a job as an administrative assistant, and I've been
Okay.
working contract positions.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing. And I really like admin work.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Fun. Okay, so
Yeah.
now we're doing admin work. So are we
Yes.
still having about the same amount of social interaction with people, or are we doing more clerical work while we're doing admin
It's
stuff?
it's more clerical. So behind
Okay.
the scenes. Yeah.
Okay. Can I
Hmm.
ask you, you being, I know you get some anxiety, social anxiety and whatnot, but you being a pretty social butterfly out there usually, otherwise when you're out and about and you're talking to
Yeah.
people and you got to get energy, do you feel maybe by doing this more admin work and clerical work, you have more of a social battery outside of work?
Ooh. Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. I definitely think I'm more chatty because I'm not talking to anyone all day.
Well, and it's just I asked that because I know myself, like in what we
Mhm.
do, I talk all day, which is why
Yeah.
it fits me well. But there have been times where like I'm done, and I mean I'm done with the day, and it was a great day at work, whatever. If I'm closing this and that, but I can tell sometimes I'll like be getting out of my office here at home or my office, where I'm at in Tempe, and I'm just like I'm drained. I
Yeah.
don't really want to talk. I don't want to do stuff. Like people who are texting me, sometimes
Yeah.
even family, and I love my family, but I'm just like, "Ugh, I don't want to respond right now. I just want to go home and kind of not do anything.
Right.
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 So I only wonder with someone who can be very social, if
Hmm.
you're doing more admin work or clerical work, or like I say this with Herbie, it's such a good mix for him because Herbie's a social butterfly and he'll be
Yeah.
coding and then he's out and about. And I always think, I'm like, how does this man have energy sometimes just go out about and do his thing? And I think there is this really good balance of just reserving your social battery almost more for what's outside of
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
you know?
That's true. I agree. Because, like, I mean, when I was a claims adjuster, I would come home and I'd be so, like, toasted. I was like, I can't even eat dinner. Like, I need to go to bed.
Right, right. I don't want to talk to
Yeah.
anyone. I don't want to deal with it. Just let me be. Let me be
Yeah.
myself and whatnot. So cool.
Exactly.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad though, because your
Yeah.
social energy is being put into something what I think is amazing. I can't stop talking enough about it.
Thank
Let's
you.
talk it. Let's finally get into it. Jesse,
Yeah.
tell them, what is your podcast? What is what thing I've been talking
Yes.
about all the time?
Okay. So thank you for letting me talk about it. So my podcast is called The Messy Pod. So when life gets messy, tune in with Jessie.
Boom.
And we just talk about anything. Nothing is off the table. It's all about mental health. To anxiety, to depression, to postpartum depression. I want to have an episode about that soon. Just anything is on the table, and I just want to create a safe space for people because I know how it feels to not feel like you have a safe space. So I just want to be an outlet.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hmm.
And so I know we talked a little bit about now, we dove quite a bit into your past with college and your feelings. What was the true, well, I guess you said it's more of a safe space for people, but when you were first thinking of doing the podcast, what were your initial thoughts of what you were hoping people got out of it?
I just wanted to have a space where people can relate to each other because I feel like when I graduated college, I had nobody to relate. I felt like I had nobody to relate to because that, like you said, like everyone's posting, I got this job, like I'm starting this job.
Right.
They're starting their lives, like that's what it seems like. But I felt like I wasn't there, and I had no one to talk to. Like I just felt like I'm the only one in this boat, and I'm just sailing away. So I just wanted to create a space where people can relate to other people and be like, whoa, like I'm going through this too, and I can relate to that. And now I'm not alone. Now I don't feel alone, even if it's just one person. Like
Yeah.
if it helps one person, then I've done my job.
Boom. I like it. I love it. How was it for you when you first started putting things together? Right. So let's go back to the day where you go, yep, you know what? I'm doing this. Even before that, how long were you thinking
Yeah.
about it before you started the podcast?
Oh, I don't know. I think maybe like a couple months because I'm slow, so it takes me a while to like even now, like I don't even put episodes out consistently, but
Uh-huh.
I I would say like a couple months before I was
Okay.
like seriously thinking like, I think I could do this.
Okay.
And all my friends are amazing,
Yeah.
seriously. All my roommates, my cousins, everybody. Just shout
Yeah.
out everybody in my life. Um, I just really appreciate all like the everyone in my corner because I couldn't have done it without them. I felt like I was like they were just so like, yes, like do it, you got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what was that final push you feel? What was that? Because I always say there,
Yeah.
for me, it was right. Just, it was one day after work. I wasn't feeling the best. Went for a nice walk and it's just like, I'm doing it today. Just something had I don't know what it was for me personally, more so just, I felt that I'm just doing it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to finally do it. I'm not going to look back. Did you have a specific moment like that?
I just felt like when I just like pulled the trigger, I was just like, what this, there's nothing I'm going to lose from this. So just like sit down and record because you want to help people, but you're not recording. So just sit down and do it.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So I know you said that you're not really putting things out weekly, which I get. I know
Yeah.
you're kind of sporadic with it, which is cool, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Uh, do you feel that's more just to, hey, this is really something I'm passionate about, I love, and I'm not trying to make this more of a work thing, or is it just you have so much going on in life that it's not really plausible to do weekly releases? Talk me a little bit through that.
Yeah. I think it's, I think it's hard sometimes just like sit down to record.
Okay.
I think that's what I've had like trouble with, and I'm just kind of more passionate about it. I'm not really like, I have to make an episode every whatever day it is, and
Yeah.
I wish like I was more like that, but I'm more like when I'm feeling it or when I think I have something I really want to talk about, then I'm going to record and sit down. But then I kind of did like a pause for a while, and then everyone's like, "You, why aren't you recording?" I was like, "You're right." Like, I have a little bit of ADHD, so I just kind of go from one thing to another,
Right.
and so I
Okay.
feel like I just don't hone in on it.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So when you had your pause, what were you doing during that time? Were you even thinking about that? Because I know what pause you're talking about. Because for a while when you
Yeah,
first started, I was listening to him, and then you had that pause, like, huh, I was
yeah,
wondering if she's done or not. But then you made the comeback, which we love.
yeah.
I love that. What was going on during that pause for you? Were you just kind of like, I'm focusing on other things. I don't really.
Yeah, I think I've just been like I've been in a season of just like focusing on like trying to find like what I like to do, like what I'm
Hmm.
passionate about, because I don't want to keep having these jobs. I think that's been like hard for me because I haven't
Sure.
had like consistent jobs. And so it's like how can I work on that when I don't have something consistent? So I've been like really honing in on what I want to do for my future. And so that's been like a big part of that, and just trying to find like more consistency in my work, and then I feel
Yeah.
like I could put more energy into the pod, you
Okay.
know.
Gotcha. Out of curiosity, if money wasn't really a thing you had to stress about and you're able to do the pod full time, would you do it?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. 100%.
Okay. Okay. I feel
Yeah.
like that answer was coming anyways. But
Good.
and so I'm gonna have questions all about this. 'Cause I want people to hear
Mhm.
more about the creation of it and what you've been doing with the podcast.
Yeah.
How did it feel for you for someone to reach out after an episode and,
Ugh.
hey, I related to this, or hey, I shared this with someone that I think is gonna really help them. How was
Yeah.
that for you?
It it's incredible. Like seriously, I had somebody from high school that I don't even think I spoke any words to, and he reached out to me and like said all this stuff and like how he just really enjoys listening to my podcast and how it's like helped him and stuff, and I was like so taken aback. I was like, "Whoa, like okay, so people are listening. Like this is cool." And
Yeah.
it really means a lot. And even like when you reached out and you were like, "I'm doing a podcast, like I want advice." I was like, "What, from me? Like I'm not an
Dude.
expert, but
Yeah.
that like means so much. Seriously, like it just is the best feeling in the world."
Yeah. No, when I started listening to your podcast,
Hmm.
um, I mean, like, it is a thing in this world, even for men. Sometimes, like, mental health is kind of that stigma we don't really talk about as much. We're good. We got to carry on. And I really just that was the biggest piece for me, hearing a bit of what you were going through, why you did it, and then even some of the funnier ones are like, I got some confessions to make. I love that episode, by the way. I thought they were pretty funny, pretty on
Thank you.
point. But it's showing me someone being very real, which what
Yeah.
I think we need more about. That is probably my biggest thing about your podcast that I love so much. You're being so real. It's something that I want on my show. It's something that I want to do because we really don't get enough of that. Not only we just talk about mental health, but it's just reality, just who you are as an individual, right? Yeah, you're not holding back on who you are. Like you should be more of who you are, right?
Hmm.
I think there's so many things out there. Even some shows that are just like so beyond on editing to be like, oh, we have to be seen as a perfect person, no flaws, and that's just a
Yeah.
bunch of it
It is.
is,
Yeah.
and then it's not good for other people's mental health because
No.
then what are those thoughts of comparing, right? Oh,
Hmm.
that person has together. Oh, if I could be that person.
I know.
I get passionate about that, so that just
Yeah.
be real, and I love that. I love that so much about your podcast, and I think that's what you're getting a lot of people relating to. And then you're going even further and saying, "Hey, this is what I gone through with my mental health." That's a bold move. It is. It takes courage to do that. So I love what you're doing. In fact,
Thank you.
I hope, and I know that you do your own thing, but Jesse, I'm a big fan. But I'm sure there's other be like, if you post more, we're here to listen.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're here to listen. I'm all about it. We want this probably promoted and shared more out there because you're doing something awesome. You're being a platform from others who may not have the voice to speak out much about it, but here you are talking about it and they're relating to you. So for others out there who are listening to this and saying, wow, look at her podcast, I want to speak up a little bit. Maybe I want to start my own. What words of advice would you have for them?
Ugh, okay. I would say just do it. I think that's like the best advice I could say is like just do it. Like there's nothing to be afraid of. Don't go in it thinking you're gonna make a bunch of money or you're gonna come famous off of it.
Right.
Just do it. Go in with a good heart. and just know, like, make content that you're proud of, make content that you believe in. And I think that's how you'll succeed.
I love it. I love
Hmm.
it. And now for the listeners that are ready for this question that I always do on the show, where does Jessie see herself in 10 years? Where would she like to see herself?
Ah, that's tough. Okay. Well, so I'm actually going back to school.
Okay.
I've
Love that.
honed in on what I want to do. So I'm going for speech language pathology. And so I really hope that's what I'm doing. Like work wise, I hope that's what I'm doing. I'm really passionate about it and I really want to help people. So I'm excited for that and maybe own my own practice one day. And then I just want to be happy, healthy, and just, enjoying life and maybe have a home if I can afford one. And yeah, I would say that's it.
You're gonna afford a home if you have your own practice. We're gonna manifest that.
Yeah, maybe.
Manifest that. The power of manifestation. You're gonna do wellness. You go that route and continue with an SLP. That's so cool. I can't believe we didn't even talk about this episode. Future SLP going on here, going to school. What made you decide? Okay, maybe going this SLP route.
Um, I I don't know. It just kind of like fell into my lap. Like I was kind of doing a little bit of ABA therapy. So I was working with a teenager who had autism.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so that really just I was like, I love this. Like that's always been my passion. Like you can like ask my sisters, they'll be like, you've always just said you wanted to help people, but I just didn't know how. And so I just kind of like discovered it. I talked to speech language pathologists, like people who are in the field, and it just seems so up my alley. So it's kind of like being a teacher, but not having to,
Yeah.
be a teacher. So it's kind of cool.
Are you all about experiences that just make you feel fulfilled and rewarded on helping
Yes.
others? Is that what it sounds like?
Yes, for sure.
Then I think you'll love this route. And I only say that because I uh, used to run a division, or it was business development for a pediatric therapies division for home care.
Oh, wow.
So we worked with SLPs, OTs,
Hmm.
PTs, and I we got to see some visits on hand. We had to go see some patients or some of the facilities that we were working with that supply the therapists. And I could tell you right now, a lot of the therapists we have, you could just see the serious joy in their faces, especially with
Hmm.
kiddos. Kiddos are
Yeah.
for sure, you know.
Yeah.
And so like there was one SLP that I worked with for quite some time because she was one that I had brought on board myself, recruited on and stayed with, and
Oh, I love it.
yeah, and for the sake of just her own privacy, obviously I won't say her name, but
Yeah.
if she's listening to this, thank you so much. You're so awesome. I'm so happy to have worked with you. But she's always just very happy with what she did. She never had a doubt in her mind that she was not going to be being an SLP. Because there is a lot that you're helping, and then and if depending on the crowd that you work with, other family members are affected by it positively because they're
Yeah.
seeing this individual start to get things going a little bit more on something
Hmm.
that we take for granted on speaking and how we use our mouth, right?
Hmm. Totally.
So good for
Totally.
you. When are you gonna be done with school with that?
Thank you. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a process, but it's okay. It's all good.
It takes time and it's going to be
Yeah.
good. And I'm just happy for you that you're on this path and you're excited about it. And
Thank
obviously
you.
still keeping the podcast going.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So tell us here, how can people listen to your podcast? Where are you at streaming wise? Do you have an Instagram page? Talk to us a little about that.
Yeah, so you can stream me on Spotify under the Messy Pod. I'm trying to go to Apple Music, so that's stay tuned for that.
I'm here to help.
Um,
I'm here to help.
Thank you. And then on Instagram, it's the Messy Pod. So you can follow me there as well.
Cool. For people that want to reach out to you just to kind of maybe they just want to reach out to you about your show or just about your
Yeah.
experience you talked about on the podcast,
Hmm.
where could they reach out to you on?
Yeah, so Instagram would be best.
Okay.
You can always shoot me a DM. And seriously, my door is open. What if you need advice, if you need help, if you need somebody to listen to you, I got you.
I love it. Any last words to anyone out there? Any more shout outs before we end this?
No, I just want to say I think what you're doing is great. And I love that like you're killing it. Like I just love like what it's about and I think you're helping people and so I just want to give a shout out to you because I think it's amazing.
Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that a ton. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping if you have that higher mark for me, that you'll have me as a guest on your show soon.
Yes, of course.
I love
Of
it. We're going to
course, you're in.
collab. Collab coming
Yes.
soon, guys. Get ready for it. Well, thank you so much, Jessie. I really appreciate your time and your vulnerability and the ability to talk about your experiences, where you're at now, where you're aiming to be at, and most importantly, what I think is the coolest thing about you right now. Well, everything's cool about you, but it's your platform that you've created with the Messy Pod. Amazing, guys.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
give it a listen. It's got some awesome content on it and some great guests that are there. At the end of the episode, Jessie, don't you worry. I'll put your details of your show and the Instagram for it for people to find. So don't forget the Messy Pod, guys, you're going to listen to. Thank you guys for a whole nother week here at Let's Talk About This Way. Appreciate your time and your willingness to hear about this and see what else is out there in this world. As we go ahead and close the episode, just a reminder of the band Hannah that provides all the intro and outro music for us here. Give them a listen. At the end of the show here, you'll see a page with all their information on where to find them and their Instagram. Don't forget about them, the band Hannah. And again, just a shout out to everyone who's been listening, following along, supporting me. Thank you guys so much. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm super excited to continue going on this, especially when we get an episode like this with Jessie, a fellow podcaster. Good energy going all around. Thank you guys so much. That's it. Have a good weekend. Catch y'all later.